Hi, I'm Brooke.
I'm Jade, and we are the Greens to Oz. In this week's episode, we continue our journey in South Australia. We visit Barossa Valley, the Bubunga Lake, which is a big pink lake, and some other beautiful spots. We hope you enjoy this episode. Thanks for watching.
If you like our video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe.
While in SA and in the Coonawarra region, how could we take up the opportunity to not stop at one of the nicest wineries for Australia Day, Ryemel Winery? Coonawarra is Australia's premier red wine region, a truth shared by wine connoisseurs, visitors and locals alike. Think Coonawarra and thoughts of sumptuous reds spring to mind, from the rich rust-coloured Terra Rossa soil for which it's internationally recognised, to the prized red wines that have made it famous. Coonawarra is not a recent arrival. It has paid its dues to the Australian wine industry for over 120 years. After a day of indulging in wine, we were lucky enough to stay at Bellwether. Bellwether was different than the other campground. We were able to stay on a winery and there was lots of wild sheep running around. We were lucky enough to be surrounded by 1,000-year-old red gums. Then we headed to the little coastal town of Robe. In the early 1900s, Robe became a popular holiday destination, sometimes referred to as the Sanatorium of South Australia because of its clean sea air. Robe is a town and fishing port located in the limestone coast of South Australia. The town's distinctive combination of historical buildings, ocean, fishing fleets, lakes and dense bush is widely appreciated. Robe lies on the southern shore of Goshen Bay. The road obelisk stands proudly on the point of Cape Dombey and was constructed by a local builder, George Chivas, at a cost of £230 in 1855. The obelisk was used to create a landmark, to navigate the entrance into Goshen Bay, and to store rocket-fired life-saving equipment for stricken ships. We did test out the waters and go for a swim at Robe, but the water was a fresh 15 degrees. On the side of the road we came across this big guy. We stopped and had a little look at the granites. We passed yet another salt lake. There were so many in South Australia. We camped at the Tolma Rocks. Now this was a bit of a creepy spot. We thought we might have been abducted, which we survived because I'm here to tell the tale. So standing at 129 metres high, the Tolma Rocks are an imposing outcrop consisting of granite overlain with limestone. Located in the vicinity of Mount Boothby Conservation Park. The site takes its name from Police Inspector Tolma, who was instrumental in creating a gold escort route between Victoria and South Australia. Headed for Murray Bridge. The Coonalpa silos were the first silos to be painted in South Australia and were completed in March 2017. Opened in 1879 with the first train to cross in 1886, the Murray Bridge played a significant role in linking the Adelaide to Melbourne transport route. Later in 1924, what is considered to be the largest rail bridge in the state was completed to accommodate the growing needs of the rail industry. The first road bridge across the Lower Murray was known as the Murray Bridge and completed at Edwards Crossing in 1879. Then we made our way to Adelaide City. We spoiled ourselves and spent a couple of nights at Stanford Plaza after spending weeks in a rooftop tent. We then went to Meat and Wine Co for dinner, and let me tell you, this is some of the best food we've ever had. Although very small and quite expensive, Hubby's steak was delicious. Unlike most of Australia, whose wine industry was heavily influenced by the British, the wine industry in Barossa Valley was heavily influenced by the Germans. From the humble cottage of William Jacob, set along the banks of a small creek, to the legacy of the Grant family, they have over 150 years of winemaking flowing through their vineyards. It's a heritage they are passionate about, and just as equally what drives them to create new wines to be enjoyed for more years to come. We couldn't resist stopping in at Jacobs Creek for a tasting and purchasing a few bottles of wine. The estate is absolutely lush and stunning. Came across this beautiful silo art in Owen, wheat bags to sandbags. It depicts a snapshot in time in rural Australia at the outbreak of the First World War. Then we came across the cool pink colours of Lake Bubunga. Lake Bubunga is a salt lake located in the mid-north of the state of South Australia, between the town of Lochiel and the farming locality of Bubunga. approximately 1.5 hours drive from Adelaide. It is a pink lake with its colour due to certain algae. Salt has been mined there almost continuously since 1881, and it has become a tourist attraction, along with its Loch Eel monster sculpture in the middle of it. The lake is the largest of a system of quaternary Holocene saline lakes extending about 30 k's north of Loch Eel. The salt is dissolved from saline mud produced when winter rain fills the lake. Each summer, a large portion of the lake dries up. We were lucky enough to walk across the lake, although it did feel quite slippery under your shoes. A fiberglass sculpture named the Loch Eel Monster, whose namesake is a forest in North Scotland, is visible in the middle of the lake. The backstory for the monster harks back to a time when ox teams were common in the late 1880s. The story goes that the bullocks were walking over the lake when they were spooked by some sort of monster, went to the wrong part of the lake and gradually got sucked under and went down. The potential of Lake Bumbunga's shallow waters for salt harvesting was recognised in 1868. Salt was harvested from the lake bed in summer months from 1881. 2 years later, output was 6.1 to 8.1 tonnes per day. Then we took a long drive to Yorke Peninsula, which was a bit disappointing because the weather was not the nicest. We stopped in at Point Turton, which overlooks the beautiful blue waters and white beaches of stunning Hardwick Bay, where the peninsula's leg meets its foot. I'm sure on a nicer day, the water would look much more bluer. We didn't stop for long, and it wasn't long before we headed to Pine Point to spend the night. A little preview of what we go through every night when we set up camp with our King's rooftop tent. He does most of the work. We camped at a free camp near Middleback Ranges, which is a mine site. The mines there produce magnetite and hematite ores. We then packed up the next day and headed for Tumby Bay. Stopped at Lucky Bay in South Australia, not to be confused with Lucky Bay in WA with all the kangaroos. Tumby Bay is a coastal town situated on the Spencer Gulf on the eastern coast of Eyre Peninsula in South Australia. Tumby Bay was first explored by Matthew Flinders in 1802. He named the bay and a nearby island after the village of Tumby in Lincolnshire, England. Tumby lies 23 miles north of Flinders' birthplace, Donington. There was plenty of amazing street art to check out in Tumby Bay. Please don't forget, if you like our videos, like and subscribe, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram, The Greens Do Oz. How will you do Oz?